I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. Hey, what's up, world? Welcome to another edition of I Mix What I Like Live. Again, I'm Jared Ball. Always a pleasure to be with you and to play host for these sessions. Before we go anywhere, just very quickly, please go to imixwhatilike.org and make sure you're subscribed there, because between what little I'm doing and some of my colleagues and comrades are doing, everything is housed there, and of course it's across multimedia. So I don't want you to miss what is not just on these live streams, but of course do subscribe here and like here and share here and retweet and all of that good stuff. Invite whoever, get into the comments and chats, as some already have, and we appreciate that. We're going to get to as much of that as possible. We're a little bit limited on time for this, but before I bring up my guest, I want to, having done that little bit, quickly try to clarify some of what has gone on in the last few hours since last night, where we were originally scheduled to be hosting a conversation with the Hood Communist Collective. But it was brought to my attention that there were elements of that collective who had been behaving way outside of the lines of what I understand to be principled political behavior, way beyond disagreement or critique or criticism, way beyond even dislike, but into some of the most shady and just unacceptable behavior. And just to be clear, I had not known that this person was involved with that collective at the time that I had arranged the interview. So I'll happily accept criticism or critique for being ignorant of that. But I was engaged with Erica Keynes, who I think has, in all of this, to my best of knowledge and experience, behaved principally. And I'll explain just very quickly. She and I had been engaged through mutual comrades, through Black Alliance for Peace, and other formations. I have been a fan of her work, a supporter of her work, appreciate her perspective, and that was it. So I said, since started doing these live streams, I would want to invite her and the collective that she works with here to discuss all their work and support their work. And that was it. And so as soon as I got word last night that this was an issue with the partner of my next guest, I immediately, was reached out to. I'm going to get to that in just a second, but let me just finish this part real quick. So once I alerted Erica that we would not be going forward with the interview, once I had heard what was going on with one of her colleagues, we had a friendly exchange, a principled exchange through email. And long story short, I said I can't go forward. The criticism had, and the ill behavior had spilled over to where people in her collective, or one person in her collective, has caused a lot of problems for the partner of my next guest, who is Kevin Rashid Johnson, who is a political prisoner I've been interacting with and publishing with and supporting and trying to support as best I can for, I don't know, it's well over a decade now. I don't even know how long it is. And I said to Erica, I can't, just on GP. I mean, I think I literally wrote that in the email. Just on GP, I can't move forward with somebody who is treating his partner this way. That's just not going to work. So long story short, she responded and said that she and her crew are going to regroup. She acknowledged some mistakes on her end, while also acknowledging that she felt not everybody behaved properly or whatever, but whatever. She understood what was going on and has decided they're going to regroup, and then we'll be back in touch at some other later date. And I said, that's great. And that's fine. More importantly, for me at least, was that once this critique of my having set up this interview was brought to my attention, our next guest, Shupavu Wa Kirima, who is the partner of Kevin Rashid Johnson, reached out to me, let me know what was going on, said we need to talk. And as I have always understood in principle and in behavior in this struggle, when there's an issue of this nature, she reached out to me directly, got on the phone, texted me, called me, and then did one step further, got me on the phone to talk to Rashid himself. So that we could all get clear. I got clear, then we made it all clear. And that is why, and I'll bring her up now. She is here now to join me and us in this conversation. Shupavu, I want to welcome you, but I want to quickly invite you, if possible, to put on a headset so we don't have that echo. If you could do that, that would be great. In just that interim, I'm going to mute you while you get that done so we don't hear that echo. So, but anyway, I just wanted to quickly lay out and re-emphasize again to me how appreciative I am that that Shupavu reached out the way she did. And I'm obviously open to criticism or critique, and said, let me know all that had gone on, which I was not aware of, and gave me more background. And then that was it. And immediately I moved to clear that up. That's about really all, as much as I really want to get into on that, because I don't want this space to be turned into so much of what I see out here in terms of the hostile backs and forth. I just want to emphasize that if we are about movement building and struggle, then the mission, or part of, I think, the mission has to be direct communication when there is any confusion. But again, while she's getting herself together, I will shamelessly plug, because I brought it out since I knew we were going to be talking today, and I was reminded, I honestly had forgotten that because Brother Rashid had reached out and invited me to write for this. Not only have I been able to publish a few pages in support of his work, but had found that was reminded that both Mumia Abu Jamal and Jalil Muntakin had published pieces in this book. So it was like an added honor. But Shupavu, again, thanks for joining us. And again, thank you for your incredibly principled behavior and reaching out and clarifying everything for me, and then agreeing to come on and talk with us and squeeze this into your busy schedule. So, all right, I've said really as much as I wanted to say in all this conversation. Most importantly, since you're here, please clarify anything that I got right or wrong, or embellish or elaborate on any of that. And then obviously let's talk about Rashid and whatever we need to get out about him before I know you got to go to many more things as you struggle in this world that are beyond this particular issue. And again, welcome. Oh, now I muted you. I think now you got to unmute yourself. Uh-oh. Now I'm not hearing you. Yeah. Uh-oh. Anyway, real quick. Now we're still not hearing you. I don't know what happened. Try to click the check your settings real quick and make sure the settings are good. Then why aren't we hearing you? I don't know what's going on. Now we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I don't know what just happened, but I'm not going to move.
Okay.
I really want to thank and appreciate you for providing this platform and for the stance you took immediately once we got in contact with you. And like I told you on your post, and when we had the conversation last night, just based upon my husband's opinion of you, the work you all have done, the support you've shown him, I knew you could not have been aware of the situation. So I really want to just appreciate you for that.
No, it's no problem. I mean, that's simple. That was not a problem. And again, I apologize to the movement and the ancestors for not being aware as I should have been, or would have liked to have been. So that all aside, or unless there's more you want to say about that whole confusion or that the issue last night. For those Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
don't want to get too in the weeds with that. Like I said, I appreciate the stance that, Erica took as well, based upon what you've said. And, I was a supporter and a admirer of her work, so that's why her continued uncritical support and unity with this individual still puzzles me, but.
Do you want to share any of that about this person or about any of that? I mean, I'm not inviting it. I just don't. I want to make sure that if you did, you had room to do it. But
yeah, I think most people pretty much understand. But this was someone who I organized with when I was in the African People's Socialist Party. We hooked back up after we both were out of the party for various reasons, hoping to do some political work together. I was trying to foster a relationship between Rashid and them. And Rashid offered a criticism on, we felt, what was an incorrect line that he put out, the guys he put out. And it spiraled from there. The attacks became personal. I was doxxed. My personal information was released. Rashid was reported to the prison authorities for allegedly having a contraband cell phone. There were many articles that were posted that were false, that were doubting his existence, questioning if he even existed, when at one point this person called him his brother-in-law because of the personal relationship that I had with this person. So Rashid was your brother-in-law, but then you went to writing stories about him not existing. There were stories that were written by people in his organization with his approval that completely made up stories about Rashid being in illicit affairs with young white girls and, just whatever he could do to smear and discredit Rashid's reputation. Just really nasty stuff. There was a document that was leaked showing a detailed plan that they had put together, he and his organization, to undermine the movement, basically to cause discord between, other communists and leftist organizations, and to basically grab media attention by disrupting, the work that we're doing. So just real pig agent, agent provocateur type stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry to hear about all of that. That's
yeah.
Anyway, that's terrible. But unfortunately, I mean, it's crazy that people say it all the time, but the longer you're in a struggle, the more you're going to see, and there's a lot of stuff that happens that unfortunately mirrors this kind of behavior and anything. So that's why it's always best for people to call and communicate directly,
absolutely,
and get clear. And I have never claimed to have everything correct, and that's why, in fact, even in these discussions, we have a range of debate. It's different than the range that may be elsewhere. I'm clear on that, but it's a range of discussion, a range of debate. And I joke all the time. I don't even agree with everything I say, much less everybody else. So anyway, but again, I appreciate you coming on. And you mentioned at the end there the attempt to disrupt the work that you do. So let's talk about that work. But quickly, if you would. I think, to be fair, if we talk about the quote unquote roster of political prisoners, Rashid is not going to be on that all-star list or the top 5 or whatever the phrase would be. Could you quickly outline for anybody who's unfamiliar with him, his history, his story, and how he's come to do the work that he is doing, which of course then we'll make sure we talk about after that.
Absolutely. So Rashid has been a political prisoner for over 30 years at this point. You can visit his website, rashidmod.com. In 2005, he was convinced by a comrade to cease and desist from his personal individual attacks on pigs and guards and things like that, his physical attacks, and to use his mind and his brain and to organize and to be a leader in this movement. And that's when he founded the New African Black Panther Party, of which he is still a member and was Minister of Defense up until fairly recently. Yeah. He's written articles, he's written books. Sure. That you've contributed to.
I mean, I'm talking about, my contribution, all the people that contribute outside of Rashid in this book is maybe a total of 10, 12, 15 pages, something like that. So he's clearly able to write. I know this is not his only book. He's got a lot on the website there.
Absolutely.
And then of course he's an incredible artist as well.
Incredible artist. Yeah. Yeah, he actually sings too. That's a little known fact that he's got a beautiful voice. So.
Oh, I didn't remember that. I don't remember reading.
He
about
doesn't
that
tell
part.
anybody.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't remember reading all that and all this theory and revolutionary nationalism. Like I don't remember. What is this new African Black Panther Party? What is this new African Black Panther Party in its relationship to the traditional so-called or the original Black Panther Party, and even its relationship to the new Black Panther Party?
So the new African Black Panther Party is the continuation of the original Black Panther Party politically. The political and ideological line is revolutionary intercommunalism, which was a theory that was first put forth by Dr. Huey Newton back in 1970 at the speech he made at Boston College. Rashid has done a little bit to tweak the theory for today's struggle. Obviously, nothing changes. That's dialectical materialism. What worked in 1970, has to be tweaked for today. It's a different struggle in some ways. But they hold to the tradition of the original Black Panther Party. No cultural nationalism. They're stone cold communists, Yeah.
And I don't mean to make light of it, but how has that gone for Rashid as a prisoner? How have those politics gone for him? I mean, because it's one thing for me to be on the so-called listserv or the email list, and every once in a while to get some sort of direct communication and letters. But I mean, come on, what's it? How's that going for him?
Rashid faces constant abuse and repression, and like his will. He has such a strong will and so much heart. I don't know anyone else, probably outside of my father, who I respect as much as Rashid. It's not easy. It's not easy. Rashid has been shipped all over the country from prison system to prison system through something known as an interstate compact agreement. Basically, they use that agreement to disrupt his organizing work and keep him basically isolated. So he's always moving to another prison. They usually spread lies about him before he comes, saying that he's a rabid, Black nationalist. He's a reverse racist and wants to kill white people. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff, hoping, to instigate something. He's been on death row, even though he has no death sentence. They placed him on death row so that they could keep people away from him. They don't want him having any contact with other prisoners, because he's a dangerous man because of what he believes and what he is willing to do to see those beliefs, into fruition. He was actually classified as a domestic terrorist, a threat to domestic safety by the prison system. He's been held in supermax after supermax, and this is someone who doesn't even shank guards anymore, allegedly. He doesn't do that. It's strictly because of his politics, and I think it speaks to the power of these politics if they are able to spread and catch fire the way that we know they will, because we won't stop working and organizing until they do. We can actually build a new world, and the powers that be understand that he's very dangerous. He's very dangerous in that respect.
Part of what that danger to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't pretend to know all the or to remember everything about his life and history, but what I've always thought was important, and what makes him so dangerous is that he was not a so-called political radical before he got locked up.
He wasn't.
And he was more or less like not everybody, but so many others that we would know or have heard about or certainly see depicted in popular media, involved in all kinds of extracurricular, extra legal pursuits and activities. He gets locked up. And if I remember correctly, it's the interaction with the police guard or the guards themselves that help politicize him and radicalize him. If I remember correctly, if that played a role in it, but that it wasn't that behavior that made him or inspire so much fear among the prison, the guards, or the state. It was the politicization of him. And his impact on other prisoners, a la, obviously famous people like George Jackson and others, that once they are able to radicalize and then spread that, some might think it's counterintuitive, but the reaction by the institution is very hostile.
Yeah. Well, he inspired fear either way.
Fair enough. You're right. Fair enough.
Wasn't a joke before, but this way it benefits all of us. It's not individualistic, outbursts and attacks. Rashid has always had a really strong sense of right and wrong and fairness. He always was a defender of the underdog. Even when he was in that former life, when he was in the streets and, engaging in, criminal activity. I hate that word criminal, because crime is determined by the ruling class, and we're oftentimes pushed into these types of, activities in our neighborhoods because they're starved for resources and things of that nature. But even in that life, Rashid always stood up for the weaker person, and I think once he got inside and he really saw just how, unprincipled this entire system is, watching other prisoners being beaten and even killed, Rashid has seen a lot of stuff, in those prisons. That's what's so important for people to understand, that we have to get more involved in what happens there, That's really an underserved population, really, really marginalized. And they literally make people disappear. And the only thing that has kept Rashid safe to this point is because Rashid is known. It would be a huge, problem if something were to happen to Rashid, and we maintain pressure on the system all the time because of that. But I think that's what led him, that's what really led him to refining his politics, really understanding the importance of organization, that this fight has to be organized, it has to be structured, and, it has to be intercommunal too. We believe that the Black working class has to lead this struggle, but it's going to take all of these communities, all of these oppressed nations of people coming together to really destroy this system.
The only question I have left for right now is slightly. I'm just kind of curious. I'm always curious about does he have a relationship at all with Emory Douglas? I mean, it's obvious his art is inspired by, and it's remarkable, and so I was just curious if there's but I don't recall there being an overt.
No personal relationship with Emory Douglas. That would be awesome. Obviously he's inspired, by that vintage artwork, but no personal relationship.
Okay. Well, look, I know you got a lot to do, and I'm very thankful for you taking the time. I just want to say publicly again, thank you very much for how you put this together. And anytime you think that I or this outlet or something else I can do to be of help to what you're doing, and obviously in support of Rashid, please just let me know.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much and what you're doing. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you. And you take care of yourself, and we'll stay in touch. And peace to you until Rashid, until the next time, take good care.
Absolutely. All power to the people.
Likewise, all power to the people. All right, everybody. That's all I had for this evening. I want to again thank Shupavu. I want to thank Rashid and everybody else who in a principled and positive way reached out to clarify some things, and Erica too, for the I think what was her principled stance on this as well. Thanks to all of you for joining in. Please do go to Rashid Mod and support his, at least check out his work, and then consider supporting it. And then go to imixwhatilike.org and check out all that we got coming up. And there's a lot. So we'll be back in touch, obviously, with Shupavu and many others working on behalf and with and for, and in some cases who are themselves political prisoners. And anyway, a lot of stuff coming up. So again, thanks everybody for checking this out. Please let everybody know what went down here and share it and comment on it and be in touch about it and all that good stuff. Yeah, and let's build. Anyway, imixwhatilike.org, at imixwhatilike for all your relevant social media. And as Fred Hampton used to say to you, we say peace if you're willing to fight for it. So peace, everybody. Catch you next time. Catch you in the whirlwind.
I mix what I like.